I've actually been on 4 different labels and had 8 different managers.
Wow. Okay. So you've definitely been, you through the industry a bit and to know what it's like.
Yeah, I feel like I've been pretty chewed up and spit out many times. There's definitely a period there when I didn't have my freedom and I wasn't allowed to do anything that I thought, I'm just done. I'm exhausted. And this industry is so toxic and can be really harsh for solo female artists. The amount of times I've been promised things or told I'm the next big thing and had to just sit around waiting or, get mistreated and abused. And I just was so fed up and I was ready to walk away from it. But the one thing that kept bringing me back is I can't stop writing songs.
We're back. It's Innersleeve, episode number 37. I'm Cassius Morris, my lovely co-hosts Frank Pavan and Joe Pacheco. What's happening, guys?
All good, my man. Good to see you back.
Yeah, man. Nothing much. Happy the trifecta is back together.
The Innersleeve crew has reunited. It's feeling good. I'm equipped with my blue light glasses here, so my transition to Harry Potter is almost complete. I just need the scar. But I think we're doing good today. And speaking of doing good, we have an awesome guest on today's episode. She goes by the name of Kandle. She's a singer-songwriter, immensely talented. But of course, first, as always, we want to hop into some topics about the world of music. Joe, did you want to lead us off?
Yeah, we wanted just to mention some SoundMojo merch. We have merch available for all you guys. Hoodies, t-shirts, crew necks, as Frank always says, which I always, for some reason, sticks in my head. Crew necks. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Mention crew necks. Hats. We have some hats, and we have some other stuff coming down the pipeline eventually. So definitely do check that out.
Where can they find that, Joe, in the description?
Yeah, in the link in the description.
There it is.
I feel like
get your SoundMojo merch.
Sales guy.
Yeah, man. Good putting on the pressure for the sales. No, but I mean, a little bit of housekeeping off the top. We do want to mention that. And I have to say so myself, if I may say so, the SoundMojo merchandise, super high quality. Not one of those, like you're going to the mall and printing a logo on a t-shirt. This is the real deal. And if you end up getting any of the SoundMojo merch, send us a picture. We're on social media at SoundMojo. All over the place. There you go,
Good
Joe.
idea.
You got your hoodie.
That'd be fun.
Like
and honestly,
American apparel. The quality is like this. I could like. It's got a nice fleece interior.
No, it's really good material.
It feels
very
really,
good.
really nice, man. Nice.
As fall rolls around, maybe you need some warmer clothing.
My favorite time of year, hoodie season.
That's it.
Exactly. And speaking of interacting with the audience, you had some comms tabs that I think we're going to tease. Is that right, Joe?
No, actually, these are some that are already on there. Like I just wanted to thank the people for participating because it's getting better and better. We're getting more and more votes and participation. One of the ones I just thought was interesting, is what's your favorite thing about music? Like we all love music, but what is it? So 41% of the people says it gets me through rough times, which is obviously a given, sort of. I think it's like. Some people here, 23%, no, actually 31 says, I don't know, I just love it. They just love the music.
They
just
need
love
a
it all.
reason more than that.
Yeah, exactly, right? Because it could be, rough times, but then it's there when you're happy. It's part of the party, like it makes the whole ambience. So that was kind of cool. Another interesting thing for me was, which 96 votes we got on this, was which of the following devices do you listen to music on? So smartphone, computer, radio, I had to put it in there, television, because we all have TVs and stuff, and others, and obviously 83% landslide was smartphones. So
saw that coming.
Yeah, I saw it coming too. I consume a lot, but I mean, like I work on a computer all day, so there's music playing all day on my computer, so I voted computer. But smartphone makes sense that it's always with you. Now with with smart Bluetooth earbuds and stuff, it's so easy.
How many votes for vinyl?
Well,
was vinyl an option?
They only give us. I wanted to put it in.
5
I had
slots.
To put, others let us know, so they only give us. But somebody wrote, yes, please, like vinyl. There are 2 options missing: all of the above, so all of the above, and a record player. I personally have like 3 or 4 tables that I've had since I was a kid. So basically, when one dies, I just grab another one, and it's like, okay, continue listening to my collection.
Awesome. Well, it's always good to get that feedback from them.
Yes, we appreciate that for sure.
Well, because a lot of people, like I know as a musician, as a producer, like you're always, you spend like $4,000 on a mic, this, that, and like all this crazy budget, and yet people listen to it on their $30, $40, $60, maybe $200 for buying iPhone earbuds. and that's what you're listening to, you know. So it's like gives people perspective where their music is being played, you know. And that's it. Like, you know, I just thanks again for the participation, and there's like a ton more coming. So
let's get into the nuts and bolts of this episode a little bit here. We've got some hot new releases, right? That oh boy, some diehard fans are interested in this. What's up, Joe?
Was it like a new artist, somebody new to the scene? Or?
yeah, definitely, definitely rookies. Drake and Kanye West's album Donda was released earlier this week. Drake's album, I believe, right? It's yet to be released, or is it released?
September 3rd.
Oh, so today.
Yes,
today.
It's just coming out, actually. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So if you've got to hear it already before this episode, drop it in the comments and let's hear what you think of it. How the two kind of, do they compete with each other? Are they two different type of styles? Let us know. But let's get into the something more specific. Drake's album has, but the album cover, controversial, has raised some eyebrows.
I just face palmed literally for the audio listeners.
Cassius is not a fan. Cassius, give us your 2 cents on this.
I mean, listen, Drake can do whatever he wants. We all know this by now. But I think this album cover is just sort of a joke. I mean, listen, I dig what he does. I think he makes a great name for Canada. But I think the album cover is corny. For any of the audio listeners that haven't seen it, it's about a dozen emojis of pregnant women, the pregnant woman emoji, all different nationalities, different colorful shirts and stuff. And it's a very colorful album cover. But I don't know, guys. I just sort of poor taste, if you ask me. And honestly, if I was sort of thinking, what if I was a female Drake fan? Like one of those fans that really looks up to him in sort of that different way. I wouldn't find this appealing at all, to be honest.
I was just going to say, at first glance, I didn't understand what it means. Now I'm starting to think it's like multiple nationalities, women, maybe the fact that they bring life into,
I don't think so, man. I think it's got it's
such a wholesome take on it.
That's you got the shutters on.
Metal raised me right.
You got metal raised you right. You know when the horses get released in the races and they have the shutters? That was Joe right there, I think.
Totally. And I think that's Drake too. I think that's Drake too, with all the women in his life.
I think that this is very much subliminal pompousness, if that's even a word, from Drake. Like his music can impregnate women. I think that's what I'm getting. Like,
look at that.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is like, relax, buddy. Like,
and the title, Certified Lover Boy.
That's right. Good job. Good point, Cassius. The title itself is Certified Lover Boy.
Wow.
Like I think it's got some subliminal. You were definitely PG-13. We were definitely R-rated, but I think that's what he's getting at. Edgy.
It's weird to see too, because there's obviously a lot of comparisons between Drake and Kanye's releases because they're neck and neck right now for the release date. Kanye dropped his album, no album cover. Just a black square. And honestly, I think Drake's record, a lot of people were saying something would have been better than nothing, but then Drake dropped his cover and people are taking it back. I think Drake should just change it to a white cover. That would be the ultimate versus with Kanye.
Hilarious.
I don't know, man. Just looking at the Drake cover now, when we're talking about this, it's probably a brilliant move because it's not typically associated with a hip hop style cover or a rap or R&B, whatever. So we're talking about it, right? That's kind of what he wants. So
brilliant move in what sense? Genius. The messaging or the design or what?
No, it's off the wall. It's not like a typical album cover.
It definitely is.
So that could be part of the marketing strategy.
Yeah, I'm curious to see it. It definitely sets a tone for a less serious album for me. And personally, when I do listen to Drake, I like his more serious songs. So it might be hard to take a serious song serious on that. But I guess we'll find out. I'm really happy that these guys are dropping albums. Now, did you guys get the chance to check out the new Kanye album at all?
I did.
I did not.
Okay,
no.
Joe, what did you think of what you heard?
Nothing bad or wrong in any wrong. Why would it be wrong? Anyways, nothing horrible. For me, it didn't speak much to me. It felt like one long song. It felt very samey from one song to the next. But then again, I also listened to it while I was working. It wasn't just like a dedicated, focused listening. But I mean, I preferred the Yeezus album, and like personal taste, and the one before in 2019, it was also gospel-y. I thought that was really cool. This one, I don't know, it's my personal opinion. It's like I have there's not many artists. Well, this is one of the artists that I have a hard time separating him from the art. You know, we speak about that a lot. This guy like rubs me the wrong way. The attitude, the ego, I'm the best ever, I'm the this, I'm the that. It turns me off right away. But I mean, look at him. He's accomplished so much. But yeah, for me, I don't know. It seems a little one-dimensional for me.
Is the name paying respect to his mother?
His late mother.
His maiden mother, yeah. Okay,
yeah,
that's cool.
And it's good point, Joe. I mean, a lot of people did criticize the record because he has a couple songs on side one, and then on side two, I'm talking like it's on a vinyl here. But at the end is like he has part two of these songs, and a lot of them are pretty much the same in structure. So he did take some heat for that. You know, personally, one thing I really like about Kanye is the fact that he's so polarizing. Whenever there's somebody who people either love him so much or hate him so much, I always find that figure really, really interesting, and it kind of just makes me like them more, even if I may not be the biggest fan of some of the stuff they do. But I personally dug the album. I think it's cool, and I think I'm just happy to have a new album. I mean, ever since I think the last big hip hop release was J. Cole, and ever since these guys have been really overdue. You know what I mean? So it feels like a decent time.
Well, 2 years, right? Like 2 years used to be a normal wait because you'd tour. We didn't have any tours, so that's probably feels like we were overdue. But I mean, you're like people are pumping out albums a lot faster these days.
It's true. So we have some trivia also lined up. We're trying to keep this intro jam packed here for you guys.
Seriously, yeah. Okay, all right. So you guys are ready? Prepared some easy.
Yes,
I hope I'm ready.
So Cassius and I are a team.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So
let's do this.
I'll start easy. So, which Beatle worked on a James Bond theme song?
Oh man, I'm gonna be terrible today. I honestly don't know that one.
No?
Was it Ringo?
No. Paul McCartney, Live and Let Die. No? Wasn't that the song?
See, I've never really watched the Bond movies, to be quite honest. Like, I know what it is, I know the characters, but I've never really sat down with it. So
I grew up on that stuff. But that song, like, it's funny because I also don't I associate that as a song on its own, not necessarily a Bond song, but it is.
Which Bond movie?
Live and Let Die.
But which year was that? Like, are we going back now?
I'm not that good.
Yeah, we're going back, eh?
Yeah. I can maybe search it up, but anyway, yeah.
Forget it.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
No.
Which lead singer is credited with popularizing stage diving?
Oh my God. And you're not giving us more than that? It's just which lead singer. That's it.
All right. Well, think who stage dives. It's not happening in a classical show.
So it wasn't Beethoven. Okay, scratch that.
No. So basically, think of someone. Hey, he's not young by any standard because obviously you have to come up with it, but it's definitely an iconic figure and a name.
Where are you thinking
guess.
with this?
It's not like James Hetfield or anything. It's even more iconic, I think, than James Hetfield.
Where are you headed with this, Cassius?
I'm thinking, and I hope this isn't wrong. Is it Eddie Vedder?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Because I always think of him hanging off the balcony in the theater and stuff.
Yeah. No, he probably pioneered a different style of stage diving, but no, this was Iggy Pop.
Okay, that makes sense.
But I probably would have not have thought of him because it's not someone I think of often, to be honest. But yeah. All right, let's keep moving along here.
Well, at least I'm learning something for next trivia. Maybe I'll win next time.
All right, so this is going to be, I guess, harder-ish.
Oh.
Which group holds the distinction of starring in the first music video ever aired on MTV? So MTV was August 1981, so you guys weren't even a thought at the time.
Okay.
But,
it's a group.
When you hear, but it's not a famous group that you would know, but both of these guys in this group were like legendary sort of producers, composers kind of thing, but...
Milli Vanilli, no.
I almost picked one for winning a Grammy in 1990. It was Milli Vanilli, but no, it's not Milli Vanilli. First song...
Oh my gosh.
I'm useless, guys. I know nothing.
Video ever aired on MTV. Video killed the radio star. So that was by the Buggles. That was the first.
That was the first one that was on MTV.
Yeah.
Now what is the opening statement?
Video killed the radio star.
I do not even know who that is.
Okay, no, exactly. You want to know, but you do know Hans Zimmer.
Right.
He's one of the guys in that band, and there was now I'm forgetting his name. Famous producer of a lot of 90s and even like artists. I forgot his name now. I can't believe he's one of my favorite producers.
Man,
it's okay. Anyways.
These are good, Joe. These are good questions, though. This is tough.
Yeah, for Jeopardy, not for
that's what I mean. I would fail Jeopardy right now.
What is it? What the list? That's a trivia.
Yeah, what the list.
They kill us.
Let's see if I can redeem myself here. Or maybe, Frank, even if you redeem yourself, I'll feel better.
Let's end the massacre. Just give us one more so we could call it a day.
I have two more, but okay.
Okay, two more.
In 2018, so pretty recent, Pharrell Williams and Robert Thicke were ordered to pay $5 million to the estate of which late musician?
Okay, I know this one. Do you know it, Frank?
You should know this one.
It's
wait. So no, I mean, a late musician. Was this musician old? Passed away?
Yes, yeah, passed away a long time in the 80s. Shot by his father.
Marvin Gaye.
There you go.
Why did they have to pay
song,
that?
Right? Blurred Lines. Because Blurred Lines was like so close to a Marvin Gaye song. That's why I remember that.
It was like a hybrid of different popular songs. I think there was a couple controversies with that, and the video was controversial. I mean, that was quite a song.
Yeah, video was controversial. That's 2013, right? And like some people said it didn't sound similar, and like some people like it's like a carbon copy almost. All right, I'll skip one here, but I'll get hopefully an easy one. But what famous music group was formerly known as New Yardbirds?
Was it just the Yardbirds?
It used to be the Yardbirds, and then it became the New Yardbirds. But what band came out of that?
They changed again?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Cream.
Legendary. Close, dude. Close. Led Zeppelin.
Oh, okay.
Because the Yardbirds, what an incredible band. If you think of the Yardbirds, the first guitar player, I'm not specific to the order, but I know they had Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin in there, monster riff writer, whatever. They also had Eric Clapton at one point in that band. And they also had Jeff Beck at one point in that band. Like, what the hell?
I always think Clapton. I never think Page for some reason. That always goes over my head. But the people have commented before, like, hey, Jimmy Page, he was in the Yardbirds. So, man, you're taking us back, though, man. I mean, the 60s ones are tough. I got to say, 60s is
I would have gotten a lot
tough.
of these wrong as well. Like, I probably would have gotten the Beatles one, if I had to think a bit. But, yeah, no, it's never easy.
Next one's going to got to be easy. It's going to be like fill in the blank. Motley. Like just ones like that, like simple soft throws. No, well, good stuff, Joe.
A bitter taste of my first embarrassment when Frank caught me.
Well, dude, I didn't even speak this time, so I think mine takes the cake.
Well, to be fair, if I was sitting next to you in sports trivia, I would be probably the exact same.
Well, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I just don't know music at all, man. It's crazy. Anyways, let's move on to On This Day.
On this day. So what happened today in music history?
Okay, very interesting. There's some two random things that are pretty funny, actually. Okay, so, well, this one's actually more impressive than funny, but on the 3rd of September, 1975, an all-star jam session took place at a party in Los Angeles for actor Peter Sellers' 50th birthday. So, 1975. The lineup for the group, who named themselves the Trading Faces, Bill Wyman on the bass, Ronnie Wood, Jess Ed Davis, and Danny Korchman on guitars, Keith Moon, organ and drums, Joe Crocker vocals, Nigel Olson, drums, and David Bowie and Bobby Keys on the sax. Anyways, wow. I just thought that this is like a massive flex to have all these guys playing at your party. Like
might be one of the big craziest super groups ever. I mean, when Bowie's in your super, I mean, he's a super group on his own. I mean,
that's true.
Keith
that's
Moon,
a good point.
Drummer of the Who, like
Ronnie Wood,
Rolling Stones, Bill Wyman. That I know that name. I should know. But
I know that name.
But like I can't think of it now who he is. But anyway,
and Joe Cocker's got some great singles too. Feeling All Right, I think was his, right?
Yeah, I know. Joe Cocker's huge.
Anyway, like, so Peter Sellers.
Do you know who Peter Sellers was?
No clue.
I don't.
The Pink Panther, man.
Oh, the original?
The original Pink Panther.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, okay, interesting. Okay, yeah, well, hey, he had quite a lineup at his birthday party, so good for
Bill
Peter.
Wyman was the bass player of the Rolling Stones, so that's why we know him.
Gotcha.
There it is.
Cool.
Okay, so more recent now. Next one. September 3rd, 2010. This one's weird, okay? Mike Edwards, a founding member of ELO, was killed in a freak accident when a giant bale of hay tumbled down a hill and crashed into his van. Oh. The 62-year-old cellist died after the 600-kilogram or 1,300-pound bale of hay rolled down a steep field in Devon, southern England, smashed through a hedge, and careered onto the road. Edwards played cello with ELO, the 7-piece band led by Jeff Lynne, from the first live gig in 1972 until he left in 1975. Anyways,
wow,
just more of a random way to die, sad way to die.
I didn't think a bale of hay could weigh 600 kilos.
Bro, that's heavy.
I'd be curious as to why that came tumbling down a hill.
Yeah,
why
heavy
exactly
gust
it
of
was
wind.
on a hill.
Jeez.
Freak accident. So yeah, definitely, man. Wow.
Freak accident, man. But it's good that he got to make his impression. I mean, if we read it, he was in a solid band that made a name for a number of years. Just goes to show you got to go for it while you can, you know. And it's a good thing that he did. So rest in peace to Mike Edwards. That's
Jeez.
That's a sad one.
Tough way to go out. I just want to make one last mention that all of this is taken from the On This Day in Music website, so that we don't, we tell it where it's all coming from. I'm not creating these things out of the thin air. Yeah. But that's it, boys. I think we've covered it all. We could head on over
to Kandle,
right? To our interview.
Okay, we're gonna head into the interview. We're joined by Kandle, who's a awesome singer-songwriter. She makes really interesting different types of music, lots of fusionist sounds, and she was really a pleasure to talk with, just somebody who is all about her music. She doesn't play around, and I think she's in it for the long haul. So I really think you guys will enjoy this conversation with Kandle, and without further ado, let's get to it. Hey, Kandle. Hey.
How's it going?
Going great. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for coming on the show. We really appreciate it, and definitely, I'll come right off the bat and say it. Really enjoying the latest project that you put out. I mean, geez, what a sonic powerhouse, if I may say so.
Oh, you may. Thank you.
Totally. No, it's really good. Set the Fire. So maybe talk to people about sort of the journey with this record and sort of what's led you up to this point here.
Yeah, the journey with this record was kind of crazy. For many years, I was stuck in some bad contracts, and I wasn't allowed to tour or release music or really do anything. And once I had got my freedom and I kind of won my case, I went straight into the studio, and that happened to be the first day of quarantine of the pandemic. Wow.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, like the first day I'm free, the world shuts down. Like, it's weird. And so I was quarantined in the studio for the whole month of March, that first March of 2020, when everything was really scary and weird. And I just made music. I shut up the whole outside world, and I had all these songs, and I tried to just pick the ones that I wanted to work on the most. And they were all kind of very different. And sometimes people like attack me for that and say I'm kind of all over genres and I don't sound like one clear thing, but I just love writing songs. And every time I go to produce a song, I do what serves that specific song. I'm not trying to like sound like this one vibe across the whole record. I'm just excited about each song and what I think that song deserves. And yeah, the subject matter is all over the place. It's sexual abuse, it's heartbreak, it's manipulation, it's falling in love, it's life, really.
The whole gamut, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's very true. And I like that about you, that you don't let sort of a genre get in the way of a song, so to speak, because I think a lot of people will be like, this is getting away from what I'm sort of known for, and they put themselves in a box.
Yeah, and like, I mean, sometimes people give me shit for it, but I released a really kind of heavy, dirty rock song called Honey Trap, and the next song was a soft piano ballad. I'm like, sue me.
Yeah, exactly. What are you gonna do?
Both great songs, and if you don't like both of them, then I hope you like one of them, because my mom's friends love the piano ballad.
Maybe a different audience for the other one.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, I don't like that Honey Trap. It's a bit aggressive.
Yeah, no, we've all been there. It's like when I interview a trap rapper or something, my family will be like, oh, we like the other people a little better, but then it's not quite for them. You're
allowed to have your opinion, parents.
Exactly, they certainly are. I was wondering this about you too, because you mentioned sort of before you went independent musically. So maybe if we could delve a bit more into that. I mean, obviously, were you with a label, or was it with like a management deal that you had at first?
I've actually been on 4 different labels and had 8 different managers.
Wow. Okay. So you've definitely been, through the industry a bit and to know what it's like.
Yeah, I feel like I've been pretty chewed up and spit out many times, and there's definitely a period there when I didn't have my freedom and I wasn't allowed to do anything that I thought, I'm just done. I'm exhausted, and this industry is so toxic and can be really harsh for solo female artists, and just the amount of times I've been promised things or told I'm the next big thing and had to just sit around waiting or get mistreated and abused, and I just was so fed up and I was ready to walk away from it, but the one thing that kept bringing me back is I can't stop writing songs.
Right. You have the real life passion for it. It's in your blood, so to speak.
Yeah, and so it's still like a really weird thing to do it independently, and it feels like very lonely at times, and not part of this whole team that's working on this big release and stuff. But I just made a decision that because I'm a songwriter, I was going to keep doing it, and I tried to make my expectations really realistic because there's only so much you can do independent. I don't have millions of dollars and I can't do like a huge campaign or anything, but I do have fans, and I love releasing music. And that's kind of been the fun thing too, is without these rules, in the last year, I think I released 40 songs.
Wow. That's insane. Congratulations though.
Everyone thinks I'm nuts, but I'm like, whatever. Like, I'm making up for lost time, and I had so many, and that feeling of creating a song and releasing it right away is such a rush, and something I don't think any like artist on a label knows, because they don't let you do that.
Yeah, you're very sort of tightly bound when you're with them.
Yeah, and I know if I had been on a label for this record, like every other major label artist, they would have made me wait during the whole pandemic, like you can't do an album right now, so it doesn't make sense. But since it was just me, I'm like, doop, doop.
Yeah, exactly. Songs for days. It's raining songs out here.
Like, you want songs?
Seriously. So it sounds like there's parts of it that are maybe more enjoyable, but then parts of it that are sort of uncharted territory. I mean, would you go as far to say it can be sort of less enjoyable when you're on your own, or is it not that far?
Yeah, I would go as far as say that.
At times.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a good team, it's amazing. And I've always wanted to have like a band. I'm so jealous of bands. It looks so fun. And
right.
It's some really great people, but they're all in 100 bands, and it's session players, and I'm very lucky to have these people. But that group dynamic, I've been so envious of my whole life, where people start, like, even when a manager comes on from day one and they're like, together we're building this. I'm like, wow,
there's an energy there.
Awesome. Yeah,
totally.
And sometimes when you're just by yourself, it gets really discouraging. Or someone like me that has had a lot of abuse and trauma, it's like some days it's hard to do anything at all. It's hard to get out of bed, and when it's just yourself, you're like, how do I find this motivation and this drive to keep going when I have to be my own cheerleader all the time?
Interesting. No, that makes a lot of sense. You mentioned some of the trials and tribulations for especially, solo female artists in this business, and it's something that's very, very real. I'm curious on your perspective, because there's been a lot more, at least maybe from where I'm sitting, there's been more awareness about some of these things in recent years. Do you feel that? And what are your thoughts on sort of the state of that now?
I definitely feel that, and I think some amazing changes have been made. I think it's more kind of the older generation that can't wrap their head around it. And my girlfriends and I always swap stories about that we laugh about, but about just horrible experiences we have. Like, a girlfriend of mine told me the other day she tried to apply at a music store. She's a drummer. And they stood there laughing at her until she cried and said, "We only hire musicians, sweetheart."
Whoa.
People don't think that this still happens because we're all like woke and it's a new world, but like it does.
That's crazy.
And I went to buy an amp last month, and the sales guy wouldn't look at me, and he was just talking to my friend the whole time, who's a man, And he kept saying, she's the musician. She's buying the amp. I'm not the guitar player. And he wouldn't look at me. And then I started to cry too because I felt so small and stupid. And it's
Is it like a cry before you buy policy? Is that like the store's policy? I don't understand this store.
Oh, it's a different store. And like, it's the same thing on tour, talking to sound guys and bookers. And it's like, it's not all of them, but it's still there. But the change that I see is a lot in the younger generation. And I love some of the younger artists I know in their early 20s that have no idea what this feels like. And I'm not envious of that at all. I love it. I'm like, you've never been mistreated. No one's ever said anything sexist to you. Like, that's awesome. That is a win for us all.
Right.
But then there's things like, Bill Cosby just got released. So.
I know the madness. I mean, it's true that a lot of the madness is going, and the thing that sort of strikes me as somebody who loves music, and I can see it in you also. Like, you don't seem to be at all one of those toxic people who's sort of glomming onto the music business. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like a lot of people in this business don't really care about the music. They just care about sort of other stuff.
Yeah, a lot of it is status and money, and
yeah,
unfortunately, since I'm sure the beginning of music, artists haven't been blessed financially.
It's true.
Often the creative mind is not also a mind that's good at business and dealing with. I know a few people like that, and I think they're amazing and so killing it at life. But often, if you're a creator and an artist, like, you don't have that other side of your brain as strong about business, and self-promotion is really, really hard thing to do.
It is.
Walk into a room and like sell yourself and say like, hey, you have to hear my record. I'm the best. Like, nobody wants to do that. It's very uncomfortable. So the industry has always needed these kind of powerful people, and then we're just at the mercy of if they're good or not, if they're true good people, or if they're just power hungry and money hungry.
It's so true. What would you say for you was maybe the biggest misconception that you had about the music business that you then sort of saw the other side of? Like, is there any really poignant example of things that you thought going in that you switched?
So many.
Right. more than many.
Yeah, I think just trusting people mostly, and like when I started, I had my own little like entourage, and I had my core band that I played with, and the manager that I had at the time, and the label that I had at the time, and I just believed it would be forever. And after like the second or third time you get blackmailed or robbed, you're just like, okay, like, this isn't what I thought it was, and these people maybe aren't my friends, and they saw me as something they could use and get power and money from, and that's really all I am. If I take away my music and what I'm doing professionally, I don't think I would be in their life, and that was a really hard thing that I've learned over and over again, of just these people you work with, sometimes they're your friends, but most of the time they're not.
So true. It's like my good friend in the business says, it's called the music business, not music friends. And that's my favorite quote from him.
Yeah. And it gets really confusing though, when when you're touring with people and stuff, you start feeling like a family, and and labels are like flying you out and buying you dinners. It's like you're being treated like a friend, like someone of value, and you start believing it. And then it's a real kick in the teeth when you realize it's not true.
It's fascinating, though. It really is. And I mean, it must have given you so many tools, though, to grow and to sort of like give yourself an arsenal of tools to fight back against that. Am I right there?
Yeah, sometimes. I feel like I go through waves of being like really, I'll show all you, and like really
right.
on it. And then other times I just want to hide under the bed and be like, why did everyone hurt me?
Well, that's everyone, though.
Yeah, like sometimes I'm a tough guy and I'm like ready for it, and other times I'm like, I'm destroyed.
Depends on the day. Well, that's good, and that's normal too. I was curious about the When It Hurts music video, because this is this is a really cool video, really, really nicely done. And I know that you've done a lot of work with the director, Brandon William Fletcher. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Cool. So how does your relationship with him sort of start, and how far do you guys go back?
Not that far, actually. As you may have noticed, I love making music videos, and I started out as a visual artist and never really intended to do music professionally.
Really?
Yeah, I went to photography school, and I was working as a photographer in Montreal when I posted my first EP on Facebook, just being like, I don't know if anyone likes this, and then started getting record deal offers. And I was like,
Wow.
okay, cool. So every time I write a song, I see it visually. I always see the story, the color scheme, like it plays out like a movie for me, which I find really fun. And I know a lot of my songwriter friends aren't like that at all. And it's like a blessing and a curse, because to me, it's like not complete until I have the visuals.
Right. Okay.
I know it's kind of nuts.
No, it's cool because it's more of a sonic scape, like in a visual sense in your head, and then you sort of get the missing piece to that.
Yeah, like writing music is like the soundtrack to an event. It's not like just the whole piece to me.
Ah, yeah,
So,
no, that makes a lot of sense.
I actually got stuck here in Vancouver when I was making the record, because I came here to record the record. The pandemic happened. I got trapped here, and I didn't really know too many people. And I found this director on Instagram, which was Brandon. I DM'd him and was like, man, dude, I really like your stuff. You want to start making some music videos with me? And he was like, yeah, cool.
just a sort of humble, hey, what's up? Like,
I was like, I don't know if you're into this. So like, I just wrote a Bond theme song for fun. Do you want to make a video? And he's like, yeah, come over. I have a green screen. And we started it like very DIY. Like that whole first video we did mostly in his house, in his living room. And
wow.
He's brilliant, and we work so well together, and every idea that either of us have, we both love it. We just feed into each other's creative energy, and he's basically making all my dreams come true with this record of every weird, crazy idea and story I have, and I tell him, and he makes it cohesive and brings it to life, and it's so fun for me.
That is really cool. And so where did Keenan Tracey come into the video? Because obviously known from Bates Motel, The 100, and that's pretty cool that you had him in that.
Yeah, he was in the one for Honey Trap as well. I actually met him last summer, and we started like jamming. He's an amazing singer too, songwriter, and became friends. And I just started asking him, like, would you be in music videos? And
yeah, why not?
like, yeah, that sounds fun. Like,
nice. Simple as that.
Yeah, and I've had some awesome collaborators and really cool artists that have just been into making art for the sake of art with me. And I think that's probably a whole level of fun of being independent that I didn't think about. You know, that's something usually the label's putting together, and it's all based on these big budgets and strategies, and I'm just this lone artist now, like reaching out to friends that I think are really talented and cool. And I'm like, do you want to make a video? Do you want to act? Do you want to write a song? Like, who wants to hang out? And
that's really cool though. Cause I mean, I think there's a level of authenticity to that could potentially be transferred into the work also. Yeah.
And with how talented these people are, like I get asked all the time how I got the budgets for these big budget music videos, and I'm like, no. When It Hurts was shot entirely in my apartment here, and we just built the sets, and
wow,
really creative. And Brandon is so talented with that. He turned my living room into 4 different sets.
That's crazy. Are you thankful like for the pandemic at all? Like, are you thankful that it happened in any sense? Because it seems to have given so many creative outlets, or maybe not thankful, but just in terms of thankful for the opportunity to focus in, perhaps.
Yeah, like I can't even imagine how different my life would be had it not happened. I was going to move to England right after I finished the record.
Oh, really?
I had a boyfriend there. I had a whole tour planned. I had a whole different life, and it just all blew up in my face, and I lost it all. And And yeah, thinking about things like working with Brandon and all the stuff I've recorded and all the amazing women I've worked with in Vancouver this year, knowing that wouldn't have happened is really strange. But as I'm sure you're also experiencing, as is everyone, the like psychological effect of the pandemic has been pretty bad. Like the anxiety has been very real. The fear is very real. And with everything opening up again, like I don't feel ready for it. Like I don't feel ready to play a show. I don't feel ready to go out. Like it's kind of drilled into my brain of like 6 feet, stay back, be alone. And like I feel kind of messed up by that. So yeah, the pandemic has been a blessing and a curse. I don't know.
It's true. You know, I mean, creatively, it's been such a doozy, you know, like it just really depends, I think, on the person. And it's hard to get back to normal. You know, I'm curious about the scene in Vancouver because it seems like there's a really healthy amount of not only music, but acting and stuff going on there right now.
Yeah, I guess it's the place to be for actors and film. And like almost everyone I know here works for Netflix and stuff.
Wow. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's weird that I moved here in a pandemic because I don't know the scene. You know, I've never been out in Vancouver. I've never like seen what the city has to offer. So it's a really weird place to live when you don't even feel part of the place you're in. You know, I'm not in this community at all.
Where are you from originally?
I grew up on a Gulf island in BC, but I spent the last like 8 years in Montreal.
Okay, cool. And then, so did you mostly just go to Vancouver to create?
Yeah, I had the studio booked. It was just to make the record.
Let's go. That's cool though. And then England, was that sort of for the relationship or was that because you wanted to go to England? And is that maybe even in your future still?
It was both. It was a number of things. It's actually where I met my producer, who I love working with so much. And he works for this producer named Youth, who's in Killing Joke, and he has a band with Paul McCartney, and he produced like The Verb and everything. He's amazing.
Wow.
And we were writing a song together, one of the other songs I released last year. And his engineer, Michael, and I just hit it off so much and started making all this music together on the side. So I flew Michael out here to make the record with me, and he almost got trapped here too.
Oh, geez.
Barely made it back. But yeah, there's just something I love about England. It's very like real and still has a lot of rock and roll where, you know, if I spend a lot of time all over many places and somewhere like LA, it's like rock and roll doesn't seem as popular.
Yeah, seriously, which is crazy to think of now, you know, compared to like the 80s.
Yeah, I'm like, does anybody have a fuzz pedal? No.
Yeah, seriously, anybody? No, no distortion.
Okay, cool.
Are there any cities that you really want to play that you haven't got the chance to play?
Oh yeah, probably many. But what are they? I want to play New Orleans so bad.
Oh wow, yeah.
That's like my favorite place on earth. I love it there so much. I've never been more inspired in my life. It's just way too cool there. And
that's badass.
Everywhere, right? Like you can't turn your head without seeing some amazing players, some fantastic jazz, and it's just so alive. And just like my skin is just like permanent chills when I'm there. I love it.
No, man, that sounds so cool. I mean, and I feel bad asking this question because whenever somebody asks me this, I feel like I can never think of my favorite artist. But like, who do you listen to? Like, who are your favorite sort of people?
Yeah, that is a hard question.
Yeah, it's like I know them before, but then when somebody asks me, I can never think of it.
I think my favorite current artist is Michael Kiwanuka.
Okay.
I love.
What type of stuff does he do?
He's kind of like soulful, old school rock and roll, but like so groovy and so real, and everything about the production, about his songwriting is so good that it just blows my mind. And I think there's also a lot of really cool female artists right now that I love. I just recently got quite obsessed with Zella Day, if you know her.
I've heard of her.
She's so cool. She's very strange and gorgeous and writes incredible songs. And I've been very into her, and like Charlotte Day Wilson. And there's a lot of cool artists right now. And I kind of feel like rock and roll and real music is making a bit of a comeback, and that excites me.
Oh my gosh, 100%. And yeah, I mean, it's really exciting to watch it actually coming back. I don't know, do you have any shows scheduled, or I know that you said you're not quite ready to sort of jump back into that.
I keep getting asked, like, when do you want to tour again? I'm like, I don't know. Like, let me try a
Give me some time.
Yeah, I'm like, let me see if I can like go to a grocery store without a mask and like see how that goes. Baby steps. And I feel like it probably won't be till early next year for me, but I also don't know where to begin, to be honest. Like assembling a new live band again in a city that I'm not from, I'm like,
yeah,
or do I go back to Montreal? There's so many steps, and it's weird to have not played for this long, to not know what that feels like, something that was so second nature and that I've been doing forever, to just have only played basically in a studio or in my bedroom with an acoustic guitar. It's like, I feel like I'm one of the few people that think it's going to be a process to get back, because I know a lot of my friends are just dying to be back on the stage and they're so ready and they're like, finally. And I'm like, what are the steps?
Yes, exactly. Well, I know you're going to take them, and just congratulations on everything. Really excited. And the album is Set the Fire. Everybody go check it out. We got a link in the description below, so hit that, Spotify, wherever you get your music. And Kandle, thanks so much for your time. I think that wraps it up for us.
Thanks so much for having me. It's very fun talking to you.
Special thanks to Kandle for joining us on this episode of the show, guys. I think that was a solid interview from her part.
Yeah, like, man, like she's like really sensitive, like the whole bad contracts, that'll mess you up, man. And like you said before, you said she's in it for the long haul. I mean, she could have given up and just moved on and done other things, and she's still going for it. Now she's independent, I think.
Freeing herself from the bad contract limitations. I think she said she had she went through 4 different labels and 8 different managers. She spoke on the toxicity in the music industry, especially directed towards solo female artists, given false promises. One interesting thing, though, was that she produced 40 songs in a year. Wasn't that impressive when you heard that?
That's huge. I mean, that's a massive number of songs, like even trying, I really got an appreciation for it when I, started picking up the guitar and this different types of stuff and trying to make my own songs. I mean, it's like, I think people sometimes think it's easier than it is, but I mean, that's a lot of tracks in 1 year.
Were they all released or just produced? Like,
I think just produced.
I think they were pretty much produced.
To write is easier, but like, it's like, that's why I always ask artists when we have like SoundMojo artists or even, more established artists, where it's like, how do you know when you're finished? Because that's the thing, that's the trick, is knowing when you're finished.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's why I always like to see different people's perspectives. I was like, well, what does this guy do? What does he consider I'm done, or is I'm just fed up and let's move on, right? Because sometimes it literally is that. Just put it out, move on, because you're always going to get better and you're always going to say, I should have done something, or, So anyway.
No matter, even if you're the greatest band in the world, I've heard that. They'll listen back to their albums and say, oh, I could have put this, could have put that. But if they never release it, it probably would have never come out. They could be like Dr. Dre working on an album for 15 years and it still hasn't come out. It's a slippery slope. Did we have anything else that we wanted to cover, guys? Or was this going to be it?
One last thing, though, kind of bit of, I guess, breaking news at the time, was that Paul Stanley had tested positive for COVID.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And he actually shared via Twitter that, and I quote, "My COVID symptoms were mild compared to many others. And let me tell you, it kicked my ass. It's over now. Thankfully, he's weathered the storm." But brutally honest take on what it could do to you, even though they were considered and deemed mild symptoms. But
And not only that, he most likely has access to a lot better, facilities and private facilities and whatever, than most people that have dealt with this, So yeah.
That's a good point. Also, he's in very good health for his age. This is a guy who's constantly exercising. Yeah. I think he eats really healthy from what he shares online. I'm not with him. But he definitely seems to be taking care of himself. And for a guy who's pushing 70, he looks like he's 55.
He looks like he's in his 50s.
I think that's probably a massive benefit to him. Interesting to see. It's sad. They tried to relaunch their tour, and about 4 dates into the tour, this happened. So, the future of live entertainment starting to look rocky again, I think. We don't know exactly what's going to happen.
I see a lot of people I see a lot of festivals, tours, but I don't know what's happening. I guess in a few months we will know because that's, the fall and all that stuff. We'll see.
Yeah, the real test is when you get into the colder months or out of the season of summer. But when you said, I don't know what it's like for live events. We've been seeing them though this summer and we saw one with the People's Choice Awards, wasn't that? Didn't they have a full crowd and stuff? And people, the audience were there.
I know the billboards had people.
Was it the billboards?
It was outdoors.
It was the billboards.
Okay.
It was the billboards. I remember
it
when
could have been both.
Discussion. We had that discussion about how MGK won Rock Album of the Year or whatever it was.
Right, yeah.
That event.
Okay.
It was there was a live crowd. They were in attendance. There were live hosts, everything like that. So, yeah, but the real test comes during the winter months, during the fall and winter months.
Well, Lollapalooza, right? They did back in July or in Chicago.
Yep.
Huge event, no restrictions. And what I read was that a lot of the people were turned away if you didn't have your vaccination proofs or whatever. So it's I don't think there's a lot. It wasn't like a super spreader event from what I read so far.
There are measures that can be taken to guarantee, like you said, Joe, no spreads or limited spreads. Or it might sound like it's infringing on people's basic rights. Like people could bring up that argument, but at the same time, if you want to see live events return, you got to enforce a few measurements to make sure that nothing gets out of hand. I think that's the only reasonable way.
Well, because these are private companies too, and they have they have to protect their employees, lawsuits and all that stuff. So they have a right to, let's say, say, okay, well, and they know they're going to take a hit. They know they're going to take a hit because a lot of people just won't go to the shows. But that's okay, but that's what they got to do, I guess.
I can't wait till the interviews on our show with artists stop starting to ask how was your experience during COVID. I feel like I
know
it's getting redundant.
Every time I read an email to somebody, what's the pandemic experience, I'm like, again, but it's it's different for everyone, man. And because we have such varied, they're all over the world, it's good to know what's really happening instead of reading an article or something. It's I can hear it from the artist.
Yeah,
totally. Definitely an interesting saga, as I say, and we'll just sit back and watch the show, I guess, and hope that everybody out there stays safe. That's the number one thing. We appreciate you guys checking in with us on episode 37 of Innersleeve. I think this was a fun episode. We talked about the comms tab, Drake, Kanye. We had Kandle. Merchandise, which you can check out in the description below, right, Joe? It's in the description.
All the links are going to be there for merch, for the comm tab, for... Just thanks so much for the participation and the support, and we're just gonna
road to 25K.
That's it.
Road to 25K, and please help us with that. Click subscribe on YouTube. When you do click subscribe, share it as well, and click that little notification bell, which is right next to the subscribe. You'll get those real-time updates. You want to be the first to see this. You don't want to miss a thing because we have our finger on the pulse, and we're talking about what's happening now in the world of music. So you guys are going to want to check that out. We're also on social media at SoundMojo. That's TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're probably even on MySpace at this point. You can go back and check. So
I'm sure
thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next week right here on Innersleeve.